It was a signal to shareholders that a white knight is ready to save them from unexpected investment risk in the event the $7 billion pipeline is hit with costly delays caused by the BC government. Here is the white knight himself, Finance Minister Bill Morneau, extending a government lifeline to the project.
We're willing to indemnify the Trans Mountain Expansion project against unnecessary delays that are politically motivated. If Kinder Morgan isn't interested in building the project, we think plenty of investors would be interested in taking on this project, especially knowing that the federal government believes it's in the best interests of Canadians.
Alberta Premier Rachel Notley welcomed the move, but warned a bill passing the legislature today will empower her to start cutting off oil and gas shipments to BC in retaliation for delaying the project.
Albertans, British Columbians, and all Canadians should understand that if the path forward for the pipeline through BC is not settled soon, I am ready and prepared to turn off the taps.
All right, Kinder Morgan Canada's CEO Stephen Keane didn't sound particularly keen at an extremely short shareholders meeting in Calgary. He'd only say he appreciates the announcement before declining further comment because talks are continuing. Well, to put the clips in context, let's bring in the Minister on the File, Natural Resources Minister Jim Carr joins us from Jet Central in Winnipeg. Minister Carr, taxpayers will indemnify any builder for costs related to construction interruptions. What sort of costs might that include?
Well, we knew that we had to take some of the uncertainty out of the project. So one way to do that is to indemnify it, and that is something that we are discussing with Kinder Morgan, and Minister Morneau made it clear today that that indemnification would apply to anyone who might ultimately own the line to help de-risk the project, but only to take out the political risk. And we know that there is a political risk because of the actions and the threat of actions by the British Columbia government. There is normal business risk attached with any project. This is an unusual risk, and it's not reasonable to ask a private company to try to negotiate its way between provincial governments and the Government of Canada. That's our job, and that's what we intend to do.
So that's the limitation. It's confined to BC government delays, but it wouldn't include delays, say, caused by First Nations blockades or protests at the site. That's not part of the delay.
Yeah, it would be the delays as a result of the political risk that has been associated with this file for a very long time, which is what led the proponent to say we need more certainty by May the 31st because they have to turn the faucet up significantly on their monthly spending. They weren't prepared to do that without some better certainty that the project will be built. What we will be discussing with them is greater certainty through this indemnification.
Right. Not including protests or other things like that. This is strictly BC government foot dragging. Okay. I did want to ask you, though, I'm having trouble quantifying in my head how many dollars we're even talking about, or if this is an open wallet commitment. Are we talking millions, or could this go into the billions? Any idea?
You know, we're in discussions with Kinder Morgan, and it's a wide range of subjects that are on the table. We're negotiating with good faith. There have been many productive meetings, and they will continue. We thought, though, it was prudent for us to talk to the Canadian people about the values that are driving the conversation from Canada's point of view, and to remind the country of why we think this is such an important project for Canada.
But the buck stops, if I may, Minister, the buck stops at taking a public stake in the project. That's not something the Government of Canada is interested in doing. Am I correct?
Well, we're talking now about indemnification to de-risk the project, and that would apply not only to the current owners, but prospective owners, if that's the way it plays out.
Okay, I know you have a reasonably good relationship with the oil patch in Calgary. I'm wondering what kind of hints you're getting, if other buyers are willing to step in and build if Kinder Morgan backs out. I know Enbridge, I believe, has already come out and said it's not in. Do you have indications of other interest?
Well, you know, we're not in the business right now of soliciting interest. We're having these conversations with the owner, Kinder Morgan, and we're looking to find ways that the project becomes less risky for the investor. Investor confidence is really important, and the signal that it sends, and also that to remind all of us that this is a project that has been approved by the Government of Canada and was approved by the Government of British Columbia in federal jurisdiction. So it's clear that this pipeline has all the necessary approvals. The fact that it has been clouded in uncertainty is what we're seeking to address now.
Just a point of procedure here. If another buyer does come forward and Kinder Morgan backs out, they don't have to restart the National Energy Board approval process over again. Can they just pick up the approval that Kinder Morgan received?
Well, you know, it's not a good idea to speculate on what might happen. But what we did say today, and what I'm saying again now, is that the de-risking and the indemnification, particularly against the political risk, would be important for anyone who owned the line. Kinder Morgan owns the line, and it will make decisions within the next number of weeks as it sorts out its risk tolerance and how it wants to see this project proceed. And we will be very interested in having a constructive conversation in a continuing way, which is what has been happening over the last number of weeks.
All right. Kinder Morgan and shareholders met today. It lasted for 16 minutes or something like that. They just emerged to say they appreciate the government offer. Is that a positive sign that it was so hastily done and no comment, or a negative sign to you?
Well, I'm always looking for positive signs.
Of course you are.
And you know, we've talked about this many, many times, Don. The politics of pipelines are not straight. There are remarkable stories that have been told and will continue to be told. It is our responsibility as the Government of Canada to ensure that this project, which is good for the country in so many ways, proceeds. It's within our jurisdiction, it has our approval, and we're looking for ways to give greater comfort for the proponent who is uncertain now because of a political risk, and that's what we intend to deal with.
If you're giving us a bit of greater comfort ourselves, you can assure me the Jets are going to win the game tonight?
You know, standing up in the House of Commons, you get a little bit nervous. Playing the oboe in front of 2,000 people, you get really nervous. I can't describe the pins and needles this city is on. The excitement is fabulous, and wherever I go across the country, the Jets are Canada's team, and it's a thrill for us who live here.
All right. Jim Carr, thanks for joining us. Appreciate this.
My pleasure.